And hello and welcome back to day 8 of the Teach Me Something series. Today I'm joined by Mr. Daniel Clark. Thank you for joining me, brother.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be a part of this.
Good. I'm excited to have you here. So, in its simplest form, what do you do for a living?
So, yeah, in the simplest form, what I do for a living is high ticket closing. And what that is essentially is when a coach or a consultant is getting more work on and they don't have the capacity to jump on sales calls or jump on a Zoom with someone, and actually outsource someone like me who can take that call and get them on board into whatever service or whatever coaching that they're doing. So yeah,
Okay, amazing. So,
simplest form.
how did you first get into high ticket closing?
So to kind of go back about a year and a half ago, I inquired into some mentorship. So I've come from a construction background, so sales has not been a forte of mine. And unlike others, it's not. There's very much a learned skill. But for me, when I started, I just got into mentorship, kind of networked with a lot of people. I'm very good at kind of connecting with people, asking what they do, and finding out about high ticket sales. And it really interests me because I could work remote, I could work from wherever in the world, and I only had to learn one skill, even though that skill
Amazing.
has got different levels to it. But yeah, once at the start of this year, I connected with a few individuals who gave me the opportunity to work for them and then just built from there.
Amazing. What has been the biggest thing that you've learned in the last year and a half from jumping from construction to then sales? Like, talk to me about the transition firstly, and then talk to me about the defined skill that you've learned through that whole process.
Okay, good question. So for me, it was the massive I guess transition was the cost, like the cost of me leaving my construction job, which was like a salary or wages. And that was just a consistent wage. So it was that security for me. Going into the unknown, the online space that I'd never kind of really tapped into before. I heard all about it, but it was just a bit of a, I guess, for me, uncertainty. And I kind of like my structure and everything and knowing what's going on. So to be kind of like working for myself, essentially as a contractor, um, that uncertainty took a while to overcome. But then the overall lesson I learned from that as well was building that resilience of like I'm in charge of myself and I am making money for my family. So being able to, I guess, have that independence and grow that muscle of I guess learning the skill. Like the fact is like it's not just a skill. There's so many like layers to sales. Like the energetics behind it, like when you're jumping on a call with someone, like that frame of mind, like people like sense energy, like you know yourself, like you meet someone and you can just tell if like the conversation might be flowing, but the energy just feels off. Your person on the call can feel that as well.
Yeah.
So it's been a massive shift. It's not just like reading from a script and saying certain sentences or asking certain questions. It's a whole nother level to it. And that's been a massive eye opener for me.
Amazing. What would you say the biggest objection that you face when you're on all of these calls trying to close high ticket? And bearing in mind, high ticket isn't just $100 or $200, it's like thousands of dollars, presumably,
Hmm.
right? So, what would you say your biggest objection is that isn't financial?
That isn't financial. Well, the thing is, like, all objections are like all first objections are usually smoke screens. So what I mean by that is like it's not the actual objection. And for me, like as a high ticket closer and anyone is the job is to uncover what the real objection is. Um, typically without saying financial, like you mentioned, it's majority of the time it's either um I have to speak to my partner, I have to think about it.
Hmm.
But usually it all boils down to fear. They're fearful of moving forward or they don't see the value in what you're selling, where you have to go back and obviously reiterate that of why they're doing this in the first place, why they've jumped on the call. Um, But to go into a bit more of the fear, I think I mentioned this on one of my posts. It breaks down to three fears: is the fear of failure. What if I can't do this? And that comes down to a lot of limiting beliefs. The fear of success, like holy shit, well, what if this does work? My life changes, my coaching business changes, and now I've got all this stuff happening in my life. Like it's great, but it comes with stresses as well.
Mm,
And then it's the fear of not moving forward now.
yeah.
So
What's the
people can put
cost
up,
of not moving forward, you know?
hmm, that's it.
What would you say the I had a question in my head there, Jesus. Um, when it comes to selling down to
Hmm.
its core, what is one of the biggest like untapped secrets that you've learned to then try and help persuade someone if they are on the fence?
Another great question. Untapped secrets. I won't like. I don't think there's any secrets or any like secret like things that you can say. It's more like an internal change. Like every sales is change. I think
Mm,
Jeremy might have said that. Like sales is change. Like you're changing someone's perspective, like their reality into the reality that we want it to be. So it's like cognitive dissonance, which
mhm,
is where they're currently at and where they want to be. And they've created this gap. So you have to create that gap and then from there you have to bridge that gap of okay, put in your service, so your coaching, this is the bridge that's going to get you from point A to point B.
mm,
So it's about really digging into that pain of
yeah,
why they're here in the first place, and if they don't make that change, then they're going to be stuck in the exact same position and just going through this constant cycle. So I
yeah,
don't really think there's like any like secret like things you can say. I mean, like there's a lot of like hypnotic language you can use. Like
mhm,
I'm learning a lot of that with like NLP and hypnotic language, like just suggestive things that you can say to kind of, and it's not manipulation because a lot of people say like sales can be manipulation,
mm,
but that I heard this thing once. This guy's like, it's not manipulation. It's you're giving them an alternative perspective on their reality,
it's a good way of putting it,
which is
actually. Yeah, it's cool.
which is powerful because it's just like they're in their reality, but they want this certain thing. So you have to shift their perspective so they believe that they can achieve that.
Yeah, yeah. What's one question that you'd ask someone to try and shift their perception?
Another good question. There's multiple different like questions. I'd say for me, um, I love the cost of an action, but you have to build up to that question. You can't just like ask it like straight away. There has to be a lot of I guess groundwork built, rapport built before you
Mm,
can ask certain questions. But I do love the cost of an action. It's just like, well, look, you've been stuck in the same position for the last 6 months. You're not seeing any results. Like, what happens now if you continue doing exactly what you're doing, and another 6 months pass, and you're in the exact same position?
mm. Literally, it's like, do you think people don't actually put the work in if they pay for it? Say, for example, they said yes to you, joined the
Mm.
program, and then got nothing out of it. Do you think they actually did the work?
Well, that's it. Like you look at like at the end of the day, you have to believe in the service you sell. You have to believe in what you do. And if it does get results, then you go back and say like, well, you followed everything. But did you actually put in the work? And it's not just a case of like following like the formula that they're selling, but it's
Mm,
like doing it day in, day out, embodying what they're actually doing as a coach and learning from them. But I've like from the services and products I sell, like a lot of people that they do the work, they get results. It's
yeah,
just about a lot of people do. I've had the question like, oh, is there a guarantee? It's like, well, the only thing I can guarantee is if you stay in the exact same, if you do nothing and don't move forward today, then you're going to be stuck in the exact same position 6 months down
yeah.
the track.
That's quite a funny like notion, isn't it? Like asking for a guarantee that they're going to do the work and they're going to expect results from the work that they might not have done. Like
Mm.
that's completely fabricated for me,
Yeah.
you know?
Uh,
So I don't quite understand that with some people, but I guess that's just some people who
Mm,
don't like working. All
they don't
right.
mind
So
working.
tell me a story. Tell me the story about your most satisfying sale. So your most like your highest ticket sale. Talk to me about how like that process was, and then how satisfying it was at the end. So like constantly try to chase that carrot at the end of the stick.
Okay. It would have been a call. I was on the call for 2.5 hours,
Shoot.
and it was just a constant. And it wasn't even like it was like a conversation just going back and forth, and he was literally like communicating to me like, "Oh yeah, I'm 90% there. I just need to go think about it." Going back and forth, and I got him to 99.9%. And then it was the lack of belief that he had in himself. Like he even said that to me. He's like, "I'm just fearful. Like I've come from construction, and now I want to delve into the e-com space, which this is the offer I'm on at the moment is a marketing agency."
Okay, cool.
And it was just came down to fear of not believing in himself that he could actually do it. Not that we could do it, but that he could do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it was just, I think it was satisfying getting him across the line and into the package. And it's just like we can't give up on people. Like that's the one thing I learned is it's like no, like even though they're saying no, like you have to uncover what the real objection is. Like if they're saying it's time or they saying it's money, you have to get
Mm,
to the bottom of the real objection. And what we do there is appreciate, isolate, um, appreciate, isolate. Oh, forgot. You got me in a question here. Appreciate, isolate, relate, and then outcome. So the
okay.
outcome is obviously them coming on board. The thing back to where I was going with this is like never give up on the prospect because they're obviously at that point where they're just like either coming on board or they're totally out. It's either a hell yes or a hell no. And
Yeah.
if they're not saying hell no, then it's you got to work with them until they can get to that point of they're coming on board. And then
For sure.
after that they get on board and they have that realization and they start getting results, it's just like solidified that like yes, I didn't give up on this person and now
Mm,
they're getting XYZ results and we've changed their lives. And that's what I love about
amazing. Going back to what you just said, the
it.
step-by-step process. So you said appreciation, isolation, relatability, and what was the last one again?
Outcome.
Okay. Can you talk me through that process?
Yep. So say you tell me like, yep, I love everything you've gone over today, Danny. I just need to go think about it. So I'd come back to them like, yeah, Lewis, like I appreciate that. I understand like if you've got to go think about it, it's a massive decision. But I guess in my like experience working in this industry for the last 5 years, I've worked with XYZ clients and got XYZ results. So I do understand like where you are coming from. But just so I can understand, like even though you've got to go think about it, is there anything else that's coming up for you today? Is it just that you need to go think about it? And then they
Mm,
might say, yeah, I need to go think about it, or they might say, oh, it's just a bit costly. Then the objections moved. So it was time, now it's
yeah.
financial.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then so that's the appreciation. You've isolated what the actual objection is. So like I know it's like what my mentor said to me is like, don't believe anything they say. Um, like the first objection is usually a smokescreen, but it's not their fault of their own. It's just human nature.
Yeah.
Um, so appreciate, isolate, then relate. So then you're relating to them. So then they feel heard and understood. And then you get to the outcome is them coming on board, them taking that step into the right direction.
Mm. Sick. That's a really good framework to anybody who is in sales or is wanting to get into sales, or even just for the likes of myself, if I want to go sell something or sell to
Mm.
someone, it's a really good framework in how to actually
Mm.
pitch that. So thank you.
No.
Um, what would you, if you were to start your business all over again, what are the first three things that you would do?
First thing I'll do is seek mentorship. So find someone that's I guess in all aspects of the life that I want to have, they're achieving that and they're excelling at that. I want to get into the space. Like proximity is power.
Mhm.
I think we all know that. So getting into the space of that mentor. learning, like working with them constantly, um, changing my environment, like physically, so I'm in a place where I can work and I have like I can do everything I need to do in order to be in that right frame, in that right space, so I can jump on calls.
Yeah,
And then the third thing I would do is just hmm, I don't know, it's just like it's pretty straightforward for me, but I just like I need a mentor, I need my space, and I just need good people around me.
there you go. Environment is everything. Hey,
Environment's power. Environment's stronger than willpower.
that's it, brother. That's it. All right, Mr. Danny Clark, thank you very much for your time, for your insights around selling, and thank you for giving us the framework. I appreciate that. I appreciate you, and thank you for donating your time.
Appreciate you, bro. Thanks for
Cheers,
having me
bro.
on.
Take
Cheers,
care,
brother.
lad.